Thank you, Dan, and welcome, everyone. Interesting to hear from a former McKinseyite. For those who don't know, McKinsey is the recognized leader in business consulting, and few of us could ever afford McKinsey, but wow, that's cool. Show of hands, how many people, if they received a check for $100,000 as an entrepreneur, would put it in a drawer and leave it there for weeks? No, hold the hands up higher, please. Wow. Second question, show of hands. How many of those people would actually take some of that money and put it down on a flying car? There's, right?
It's market research.
Market research, absolutely, yeah. Primary market research. Wow. Whisk is an interesting animal, and we've been doing market research for a long time. Whisk has been doing this for more than 30 years. And I've got firsthand knowledge of that because when I owned my manufacturing business, Whisk conducted 4 market studies for me that really allowed us to position some products away from the competition and away from the red ocean where the blood is flowing and into the blue ocean where the profits are better. And that's the goal of everyone. So we look at a number of things when we do assessments for our clients. And certainly one of the primary areas of study is the competitive analysis. This is going to tell us a whole lot of stuff. You know, Dan talked about doing in-house market research. I guess that makes us the outhouse people. Maybe the outsourcing people. It's a better term. But looking at the competitive sector is so important to anyone who's thinking about either launching a business or developing an invention and bringing it to the marketplace. You've got to understand the landscape out there and who are the competitors or what are the substitute goods that might be out there that you could be bumping up against. Who are the big dogs? Who really dominates the marketplace? Does anyone truly control the market in such a way that they could control pricing strategies as well? Because that can prevent entree into a new market or make it extremely difficult for a startup to gain any type of traction. So looking at the players, do they dominate geographically? Do they dominate price-wise? Do they dominate with the depth and breadth of what they have in the marketplace? You've got to firmly understand that. And then looking at the market analysis, who really cares? Again, we're looking at, as Dan alluded to, are there 2 people in the world that really want your product or service, or are there 2 billion people in the world that really want your product or service? That's a differentiator. So doing a competitive assessment is absolutely critical to taking this thing forward. Why spend a lot of time, money, and energy on an idea or a business venture that's doomed to fail? You really need to invest the time early on, and as we call this, right, it's early stage market research. You do this early before you give birth to this idea and have gone down a path that may not provide any type of opportunity for future growth. So the competitive assessment really demonstrates the fact that this market is real, it's viable, and you have an opportunity to gain a share of that market. It lends credibility to your business plan. If you're considering getting financing from traditional lenders for this idea, going before angels, ultimately, taking it out for investors of some kind, you better have done your homework and you better have proven that the opportunity exists and you understand who the competitors are that exist in this marketplace. They want you to do all the vetting. They don't want to spend their time doing that. So you really have to know what's going on. You need this in order to position yourself. Are you going to be the lowest price? Are you going to be the highest price? Are you going to be competitively priced when you bring this to the marketplace? Are you looking for certain regions where you can gain, again, entree into a market and connect with certain customers away and apart from the major competitors so that you can prove out what you've got and really get some endorsements that will help you, again, expand that market in the future? Competitive intelligence adds value to your proposition. So just what are the the competitors doing out there in the marketplace? What innovations are they bringing to the marketplace? What pricing strategies are they utilizing? What marketing techniques are they employing? What types of social media might they be using in order to connect with customers? Have they advanced to the stage of using applications on smartphones in order to direct traffic to their places of business? I mean, these are things that you really need to understand as you start looking at who the competition might be. And where are they doing some of this stuff? And why are they doing some of this stuff? What are they reporting as results? And how do you know that? Sometimes you can garner a great deal of information about your competition by visiting their website. Sometimes it's a matter of going to trade shows where the competition might be there displaying things and trying to sell their wares, and you go up as a prospective customer and their salespeople fall all over themselves just trying to download information to you so that you might place an order at some point in time. What a great way to gather information on the competition. Can you do it better than they can? If you don't know what they're doing, how do you know that? You really have to study the competition in order to know how to position yourself in the marketplace. So what are the elements of analyzing the competition? Well, in marketing, we call it the 4 Ps, right? Product, price, promotion, and place. And these are the things that you really need to embed into a business plan. These are the things that you really need to analyze as you're gathering data on the competition. These are the things you need to develop as you're trying to position your product or service for the marketplace. What product or service do you have to offer? More importantly, what's the competition look like as well? And how can you differentiate yourself from the competition? If you can't differentiate, then it gets down to a price war, and you're never going to win that one. So you better have some type of compelling uniqueness about what you're bringing to the marketplace, or it's going to get very messy very quickly. And that, again, reflects on the price component of this thing. How are you going to price it? Are you going to bundle some things with this? You know, we see it certainly in the communications area right now. You know, everybody wants to bundle your services. We want to bundle your landline. We want to bundle your cell phone. We want to bundle your internet. We want to bundle your TV cable. All of these things can be bundled, and it makes it difficult for consumers to differentiate pricing value from one to another when they start doing these things. We see the bundling in the big box stores as well. Either they shrink wrap it, or they attach 2 or 3 products together. Again, they want higher value going through the register. They also want it to be more confusing to the general customer to be able to differentiate what the unit price is and am I really getting a deal? Because oftentimes, if I'm looking at food products, the size of the product is going to vary from the big box store to somebody else. So the ounces will be different. Again, bigger challenge. How do I place it in the marketplace? How do I get it out there in front of the customers? What's my distribution channel? What's the supply chain going to look like in order to make sure that I've got some opportunities here to be successful? What's the competition doing to get theirs placed in front of the customer? And how, again, can I leverage my expertise to be different than them in a way that's going to allow me to have some pricing advantages? How am I going to promote this thing? And promotion includes all aspects of advertising and connection to the customer. And that opportunity just continues to grow larger every day. When you look at some of the resources that are available to you, it's virtually without bounds. And certainly libraries are a primary place to go get this. And I'll tell you, the best places are the libraries in the business schools of major colleges and universities because they have access to so many databases that the general public doesn't have entree to because they're paying for these annual subscriptions so that professors can do research, students can do research. And the blessing that you've got here in Wisconsin is with our UW system, all of these libraries are open to the public. So you don't need a card necessarily. You can go in, you can access people at the help desk, vast amount of resources. They can oftentimes direct you to the most unique or best databases that are going to solve the challenge that you're facing right now. Trade journals, great resource, again, very targeted. If that's where your market is or your customers might be, a great piece that you should be going after. USPTO.gov, United States Patent and Trademark Office. If you're inventing something, you better do some background checks on what might be out there already, because there probably is some prior art. Just because it's not in the marketplace doesn't mean it hasn't been invented and doesn't exist. There's an awful lot of invented technology sitting in shelves and closets somewhere, just languishing, because someone may have done market research and determined that there isn't an opportunity for that, or the timing was bad at that time, or in the corporate arena, it doesn't rise to the level of the hurdle that they have set. Many large corporations say if it doesn't generate $100 million a year, we're not going to bring it out for prime time. There are a lot of small businesses that can get by on less than that. Looking at company directories, looking at general internet searches, that's a little bit problematic. Google is not always a valid resource for information, keep that in mind. Phone calls to retailers and distributors. Again, primary research, contacting people and just asking them some questions. Make sure that the questions you ask are the same questions for each one so that you get some valid information back, something that you can really depend on. And again, phone calls to trade associations. Oftentimes, trade associations are less likely to open up the kimono and share a lot of information with you because their members pay fees to be associated with this trade association. If you want data outside and you're not a member of the trade association, you can pay dearly for it, and I mean thousands of dollars just to get that data. Sizing the opportunity is of prime importance to any business, especially if you're looking, again, for investment or you're looking for financing. Or as an inventor, you might be thinking about licensing your technology outside. You absolutely have to know this information. If I were licensing intellectual property to someone else, I need to know exactly how large that opportunity is because that brings value back to me and negotiating leverage. It also opens doors and grabs the interest of prospective licensees. So you've got to dig down and really understand this. Who's going to pay to have the problem solved? And what are our other opportunities and threats? What technology might be moving into this market that I'm not aware of? Golly, I mean, there are lots of things that are out there right now. There was a neat blurb on the news last weekend about charge card readers that are now plug and play into smartphones. So for a lot of sellers of products or services, think about the tradespeople. They now have their person out there on a job site, and there's no reason for not getting paid by a customer because they can swipe the card on a smartphone and the deal is done. I don't need a landline. I don't need to rent that card reader. They're going to give you the smart card reader for free for the first 30 days, and then they charge you 2.75% on the transactions after that. That's still a very affordable rate for most businesses. Estimating the need in the marketplace is critical. And again, you can use both secondary market research and you can use primary market research. But you've got to do the research. You've got to dig down. You've got to understand the size of this opportunity and what are the trends in this industry. Is this industry growing? Is it growing slowly? Is it growing rapidly? Is it flat? Is it in decline? I can still make money in a declining market, but I'd rather be in one of those that's growing rapidly. Certainly our research touches a lot of areas, and when you look at what WISC has done over the years, we have, in the 30 years that WISC has been conducting this, we have completed nearly 9,000 market research studies, 4 of those mine. But, new product assessment is targeted at inventors. And the inventors that bring things to us are spread across the globe. We will touch probably 20 international projects each year. The rest of the projects that we look at are usually stretched across the United States boundaries and fairly well dispersed. About 40% of our work is done in the state of Wisconsin. But last year we had a vein surgeon in Argentina that brought 2 products to us to have those assessed. We had clients in South Africa, New Zealand, Israel, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and elsewhere. We do pure competitive intelligence assessments for clients who want us to really drill down and help them understand who they might be facing out there on the battlefield. Customer diversification assessment, that one is kind of juicy because we rolled it out in 2007, but it allows us to look at diversification opportunities, especially for manufacturers who might be pigeonholed into very narrow sectors, and this allows them to start practicing in a number of other markets. Hugely successful there. Distributor assessments. If you can produce it but don't know how to get it to the market, we can find distributors that would be interested in helping you. Licensing partner search. If you don't want to produce it, you've got a patented idea and you've got commercial opportunities, we can find people who would be interested in discussing licensing with you. Customer assessments. Take the temperature of your current customer or find out what it would take for non-customers to become your customer. And then the market assessments, where we can actually assess the market opportunities and look at trends in those industries to really give you some valuable data. And our contact information for the 3 people who are the intake side of that, our research managers and office manager. You'll notice my name is not up there. I like to just delegate those things, but we're available. I've got business cards for those who are interested. We want to be a resource for those who want to outsource the market research piece.